Most people think that if a dog's wearing a vest, it can go anywhere that they go, but that's just not true. How you doing, bud? Got Frenchie boy here with me. But not knowing the difference between a service dog and an emotional support animal and a therapy dog, that can actually get you kicked out of places, and it can even get you sued. Hey, what's going on? I'm Brycen, former Special Forces medic turned realtor, and I rely on a service dog myself. And he's right here. I've got French right here. Huh, bud? And today I'm just going to be breaking down what each type of assistance animal is, what they're trained to do, and where they're allowed to go, as well as what laws protect, service dogs, emotional support animals, and therapy dogs. So there are 3 common types of assistance animals, but only one actually has full legal rights in public. And this is how they're kind of broken down, right? So you've got a service dog. They're trained to perform specific tasks. They have public access rights, and they're protected under federal law. Then you have your emotional support animals. They have no training that is required of them. They provide comfort, but they do have housing protection, and that's it. And then you have your therapy dogs. They visit groups in hospitals, schools, VA centers, but they don't have legal rights, and they must be invited. So let me tell you why I'm doing this series and why it matters so much to me. And it's mainly because every week I run into people who are distracting French, my service dog, trying to pet them, bringing their dogs over to say hi, and even worse, they start asking invasive questions about my disability, which it's literally right here. You can see that I've got that disability. So make sure that you're not distracting a working dog. You're not asking about a visible disability. And here's a fun fact with the ADA. If a disability is obvious, you are not allowed to ask those 2 golden questions. But the public doesn't know the rules, and worse, some people fake it. They'll buy a vest online, they'll abuse the system, and in all honesty, that's why I created the series, because it honestly pisses me off. So it just makes life harder for people like me and others, and if I get hate for calling it out, so be it. I care more about fixing the problem than I do about getting, blasted for it. But under the Americans with Disabilities Act, or the ADA, a service dog is individually trained to perform specific tasks related to a person's disability, such as it's literally just like guiding someone who's blind, alerting before a seizure, interrupting anxiety or PTSD attacks, or in my case, assisting with balance or mobility, because that's what French is trained for. And service dogs are amazing because they can be trained for multiple things. Mobility assistance. He's trained for TBI, PTSD, nightmare interruption, opening and closing doors, turning lights on and off. So they're trained for a lot of things. And the legal protections that they have the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act, for public access, the FHA, there's no pet fees or breed bans. And for psychiatric service dogs, you have the ACAA for flights. So just remember, a vest or ID does not make a service dog. Their training does. And an emotional support animal, they don't need that training, but they're prescribed by a licensed mental health provider. And what they do is they help with conditions like PTSD, anxiety, or depression. Remember, that's not a disability, that is a condition. So just remember though, ESAs, comfort role, they are protected under the FHA. They are not allowed in public spaces. And what that means is that your landlord, they can't charge you pet fees or deny you, but stores, restaurants, hotels, no, they literally do not have to let you in. And then for therapy dogs, like I said, they provide comfort to groups of people in schools, hospitals, VA centers, and they're absolutely amazing, but they do have 0 legal access rights. So they're not protected under the ADA, they're not protected under the FHA, and they're only allowed to go where they're invited. And trust me, when I was at Walter Reed dealing with my injury, they're fantastic. I loved having therapy dogs around because it did help improve my mood. But here's where it gets messy. There's a lot of people right now that are going online, they're buying a vest, and they're starting to call their pet a service dog. I literally had somebody DM me asking me about how to get their dog certified as a service dog. And they had admitted to me that they did not have a disability. And that was pretty irritating. So just don't do it. Just remember though, if faking service dogs, it can actually be real legal trouble. It's fraud, and in some states it's actually a crime. And remember, a well-behaved dog is not a service dog. Only task-trained dogs for a disability qualify as service dogs. And therapy dogs, they have no legal access rights. They're only allowed where they're invited. And saying that I need them for anxiety, it isn't enough. That dog must perform a task related to your disability to qualify as a service dog. So misusing a vest or an ID, it definitely damages public trust, and it makes life harder for real service dog teams like me and French. And you know, when I got out of the military, I was dealing with quite a lot of stuff, physically, mentally, emotionally, and getting French changed everything for me. And honestly, service dogs, they give you back that dignity, safety, independence, and they give you that love that makes life worth it. And so that's why I give back. I started donating $250 from every home I sell or help buy to help another veteran get a trained service dog. It's not a lot, but I love doing it. So if this helped clear up the confusion, go ahead, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to see it, and then just drop your questions in the comments, and I will try to personally reply to all of them. But next week we'll go over another video, and it'll be how the ADA and the FHA define disabilities and what it actually means for your rights. So once again, I'm Brycen, French down here laying, and we're here to help people along and help the public understand exactly what a service dog is. And we're just getting started. So go ahead and subscribe, and we'll see you next week for another video. Take care.